Probably I'll sue her. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pockets.
Or what she thinks of him.
He is a cruel, criminal, mentally unstable man.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Do you hate anyone more than you hate Donald Trump?
No.
Why do you hate him so much?
Well, he's a liar and a fraud and a fake. And if you grew up in New York, you knew that. You know, he never could get on the Forbes richest men in the world list because they couldn't quantify his income because he's such a liar.
Two New Yorkers walked onto live television and did what government spokespeople, legal filings, and 12-paragraph op-eds could not. Rosie O'Donnell and Stephen Colbert looked straight down the barrel of the camera and made the 47th president very small. Not with policy white papers, not with think tank jargon, with jokes, with plain speech, with the kind of unscripted honesty that does not wait for permission. If you want more narrations where the mic stays hot and the receipts live on tape, tap like so. This one gets in front of the people who still think late night is just bedtime candy. Subscribe if you support Stephen Colbert and Rosie O'Donnell.
They gave Donald Trump the only thing he's missing at this point, a big golden crown, and their official lunch featured mini beef patties with ketchup. They're literally making him the Burger King.
We have willful blindness in the country. We have people who are unwilling, unable to see him for who he is. And it might be too late to save the nation from him. It's hard for me to believe that this uneducated, racist buffoon is the president of the United States. And when I talked about him and his misogynistic ways with his Miss Teen Universe contestant, he was a nobody joke on a reality show. And he became the most powerful man in the world. Who would write that in a movie that was believable?
Start with the present tense because the stakes feel different when the lights are on right now. Colbert has been doing surgical strikes from behind a desk for years, but this season he turned the dial to coordinated. He teamed up with another host and swapped stages in the same hour. A cross-city crossover that said the quiet part out loud, "We are going to drive the president nuts." It worked because it was simple. Split screens, 2 rooms, one enemy of thin skin. The audience understood the message without a hint card.
Which Trump responded to by posting, "We didn't come to South Korea to see Canada." Well, we also didn't come to South Korea to eat burger patties with ketchup, but that's just traveling with a toddler for you.
First Lady Melania Trump is now caught in the middle of the never-ending feud between the president and Rosie O'Donnell. It started after Melania presented the International Women of Courage Awards in Washington and then tweeted, "I urge you not to be afraid to fail, as failure will never have the power to define you, as long as you learn from it." Rosie fired back with this cheeky tweet, "Which is why you need to divorce him, take your son and parents, and flee."
You cannot silence one of us if all of us talk at once. That set the tone for the story we are telling today, because if Colbert is the nightly prosecutor, Rosie is the day one nemesis. Long before indictments and verdict nights, before social platforms turned into megaphones for presidential rage, there was a morning in 2006 on ABC's The View when Rosie called Donald Trump a snake oil salesman. Daytime TV does not expect a guest to drop a branding iron like that.
And then Mark Burnett gives him this whole entire show and sold it as truth when it was fiction. And America believed it.
Donald Trump famously has lots of nicknames for people. I mean, he calls, Kim Jong-un the Rocket Man, for example. He fancies himself as a chance for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Which is delusional and probably frontal temporal lobe dementia.
What nickname would you give him?
Delusional Don.
I thought it might be something more imaginative than that.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's so many that people have done that are so good. Listen, I don't really go for trying to nickname someone. I try to shame him for who he is and what he is with facts. And that's what makes him so crazy. He's been threatening for 20 years to sue me. You can't sue someone who tells the truth about you.
She mocked the bankruptcies. She questioned the character. She did it with the kind of Queens to Manhattan eye roll that says, "I have seen this act before, and you are not special." That clip lit the fuse. He fired back. She fired again. The country had a front row seat to a pattern that never changed. He needs worship. She does not give it. Fast forward to February 2017, the night of his first address to Congress.
If you're 55 and you grew up on Long Island, you know that he's a fake, a phony, and a fraud.
Rosie's a failure. She's always been a failure.
I think he's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States.
I want to start tonight by thanking the wonderful people of Japan. They have taken in our president for a couple of days. So the rest of us can just have a little break.
Washington was trying to dress itself up as normal. The podium was polished, the camera angles were stately, and outside the White House gates, Rosie grabbed a microphone and reminded everyone watching that live television does not belong to politicians. It belongs to the audience. We the people will get him out, she said to a crowd that had the weather on its cheeks and fury in its throat. Networks carried the chants, cable news cut to the signs.
Left the first wife, had an affair, left the second wife, had an affair, had kids both times, but he's the moral compass for 20-year-olds in America.
Rosie's a mess. She left our country, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
There's Trump with the prime minister. He stops to salute the American flag. Then she goes, hey, look at our flag. And he goes, nah, not really my type. Bye. And off he shambles into the distance. It's like taking Grandpa to the mall. Oh no, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh no, no, oh my God, he's in Victoria's Secret. Pop, pop, no.
Every time the shot returned to the official set, the energy felt counterfeit by comparison. That is the secret of live feeds. One unsanctioned voice, delivered with conviction, can puncture a mile of prepared remarks. Colbert took that baton and built a nightly case. He specializes in the one-liner that feels like a closing argument. Think about the night after the Helsinki press conference when Trump stood next to Vladimir Putin and treated the American intelligence community like a rumor.
Well, he is a cruel, criminal, and mentally unstable man. And Duty to Warn was a book that came out when he was first in office. Psychiatrists across the country who don't ever really diagnose people that they don't serve personally came together and made a book, Duty to Warn, to tell the world what a narcissistic, mentally ill person he is. And I think he's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States, and his cruelty knows no bounds. And when he is upset and humiliated and embarrassed, he has no control and he goes apeshit.
Japan is trying to get on Trump's good side to escape his, his random tariff spree. So they gave him a couple gifts for America's upcoming 250th birthday, some fireworks and 250 cherry trees, or as it will be known in history books, how Eric Trump started the DC wildfires.
Colbert did not scream. He did not stack 10 adjectives on a noun. He did the math on a chalkboard that every viewer could read. Egotism plus naivete plus false equivalence equals something unfit for the office. Then he turned to the band and let the laugh carry the verdict. That is his trick. He says one sentence that tastes like a statistic, then lets the audience do the sentencing with their lungs. Rosie, meanwhile, never lost the gift for the blunt instrument.
Trump also, as commander-in-chief, Trump also visited with American troops stationed in Japan, this time on the USS George Washington, the big aircraft carrier, and he announced a new military target, and it's you.
We have cities that are troubled. We can't have cities that are troubled. And we're sending in our National Guard, and if we need more than the National Guard, we'll send more than the National Guard because we're going to have safe cities.
There he is in plain English telling the military.
Things are getting crazy over there in the U.S. of A. I mean, they've been crazy for months now, right? At least 100 days. If he admits one more time that the election was rigged, I mean, why is he allowed to admit this over and over again and no one does anything about it? It's very obvious that it was. And he keeps saying it because he has like some form of dementia or something that he can't help but tell on himself for what he's done, as he has always. Or he puts it on someone else, exactly what he has done. But it's very, very overwhelming, and I can't even begin to talk about the ICE raids and who the hell are these ICE people, and their names are going to come out, and boy, if they could see themselves the way the rest of Americans see them.
She is a talk show veteran who understands the power of a 5-word line you can wear like a button. Mentally unstable, unfit for office, madman. It is not poetry, it is a label. Labels travel farther than paragraphs in a culture that scrolls. When she brought that energy to primetime interviews and daytime couches, censors reached for the bleep button. That is its own proof. Live TV only scrambles when the guest refuses to sand the edges, and that refusal is why these moments live beyond their air date.
Trump's going after you, and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? I mean, I wake up and there are these tweets and stuff.
I know. I was woken up too by a friend of mine in LA who follows it closely, and he's like, he did it again. You know? I'm like, wait a minute, it's the middle of the night. What's happening? You know. But,
what's wrong with this guy?
I gotta say, you know, it's the Epstein files. It's the testifying of the survivors that he tried to cover up with the planes, with a flyover. Like, you know, it's unbelievable how obvious he is about everything that he does. And could you say I'm guilty without saying I'm guilty more than having a flyover during their press conference as if he's going to hold the tide? You know, the time is up and he knows it, and he's like a cornered rat. And he doesn't know where to go or what to do.
She is not auditioning for the polite panel. She is trying to wake you up in time to vote. Colbert's best runs always lean on the fact that he is a creature of television timing. He has done live shows after State of the Union speeches, catching the country in the exhale before spin doctors scrub the record. He turns Boy Scouts oaths into campfire ghost stories when a presidential jamboree veers into propaganda. He takes the disinfectant nonsense and the miracle cures and turns them into a simple, unforgettable warning.
He's telling the military he's going to use them to invade America. But just a warning to the troops. That country is run by a madman, okay? It will take you years to install democracy at this point. And those American cities better watch out, because according to Trump, our military is set to go G.I. Joe.
Nobody makes equipment like we do. Nobody makes the ammunition, the weapons, the missiles, the planes, none of it. And if they do, the American sailor stands ready to crush them and sink them and wreck them and blast them into oblivion.
About a man who seems determined to prove he knows better than medicine. He keeps it human. He keeps it short. He keeps it repeatable, which is why the jokes leave the studio and become office chatter by noon. What makes the Rosie and Colbert tag team so brutal for the president is that they bracket his comfort zone. Rosie lives where he first learned to flex, tabloid New York, the messy, loud brawl of morning television and sidewalk microphones, the place where you win by being the biggest character in the room.
Former staffers and first ladies from both sides of the aisle are pretty upset about this. Penny Adams, who was Pat Nixon's staff in the 1970s, put it this way: "I literally cried as I could see my old office window," she said in an interview with East Wing magazine. Sorry. Used to be East Wing magazine. Now it's Better Holes and Garbage. In addition to the First Lady's offices, the East Wing also held the East Colonnade, the Family Movie Theater, the Office of Legislative Affairs, the White House Military Office, and the White House Calligrapher's Office.
Rosie O'Donnell, who's had a very, very long feud with Donald Trump, recently tweeted about how Barron Trump, the 10-year-old son of Donald Trump, might possibly suffer from autism. Now, she did so in a tweet where she wrote, "Barron Trump autistic? If so, what an amazing opportunity to bring attention to the autism epidemic." Now, I should state that she has a 3-year-old who was diagnosed with high-functioning autism.
She makes him a supporting player in a city he thinks he owns. Colbert lives in the land of well-lit monologues and measured cadence. The world of prestige television he chases with magazine covers and ratings brags. He turns the studio he covets into a weekly reminder that the joke will always be on him as long as he behaves like a punchline. If you want to understand why he keeps lashing out at comedians, look at the loop these two build together. Rosie throws the first brick of the week. Colbert writes the epitaph.
Well, if you talk to any Americans, they're all in shock, or at least the ones that I know. I will have to say I don't really have many people in my life that support him. I don't really understand how people could support a convicted felon and a man who has had so many charges against him and has the moral compass of a teenage boy. And it's heartbreaking, I think, to most of the people in America, and they're slowly waking. They're slowly waking to realize the cuts that he's making are not only going to affect the left-wing liberals that are woke, that they are afraid of and despise. When, as Jane Fonda said recently, being woke means you care about other people. And that's really all that it means.
Rosie calls him what your aunt would call him if she were being honest after the second glass of wine. Colbert converts the insult into a thesis you can say in front of your kids. Rosie rallies crowds before prime time. Colbert consolidates the sentiment after the evening news. The punch moves through different rooms until the whole country has felt it in some shape. That is not luck. That is stagecraft.
And I am very proud to be opposed to every single thing he says and does and represents. I think he's a racist, and he's misogynistic, and he's sexist, and he is a danger to women and children all over the world. The Supreme Court has given him unbridled powers, and who knows what he can and can't do. He shouldn't be allowed to be doing what he is to immigrants in the United States without due process, but he's doing it anyway. People are being tased in Walmart. People are being beaten and rounded up and put in concentration camps. This is not America. This is not democracy. And fascism has a foothold in the United States. And unless we take a stand right now against him and everything he represents, we're done as a country. We're done as a democracy. The way that he is has emboldened people like him. And I believe that the country's followers of MAGA are in a cult.
There is also a free speech story running under the jokes. In the last year, the atmosphere around late night got tighter. Pressure from powerful corners, affiliates blinking, executives choosing caution over backbone. In that climate, both Rosie and Colbert refused to soften. She posted videos calling out the mood for what it was, an environment where dissent gets punished and comedians are treated like problems to be managed.
Are you watching this moron speak? Can he form a coherent sentence? He is the worst thing that ever happened. Period. And he's just babbling like an incoherent asshole. He's like Dr. Doom. He's the worst thing. Oh, you know what? He just lies, lies, lies. I am done with Donald Trump. Let's be done with Donald, okay? Done with Donald.
He built a stunt that made censorship look silly by showing that two shows could multiply their volume by sharing it. Not everyone has to agree with every line to recognize the principle. In a healthy republic, politicians learn to take a joke. They do not try to outlaw laughter. That principle matters because live TV is one of the last places where you can see a civic reaction in real time. When Colbert lands a sentence, you hear the laugh break like a wave, and you know you are not crazy for thinking a moment was wrong.
Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob. She talks like a truck driver. Rosie attacked me personally because I was very happy when her talk show failed. The other thing that failed, and this was a real monster, and everybody was suing her, was her magazine. Her magazine called Rosie was a total disaster. So I loved it. I gloat over it. I think it's wonderful because I like to see bad people fail. Rosie failed. I'm happy about it. She's basically a disaster. Well, she called me a snake oil salesman. And, you know, coming from Rosie, that's pretty low because when you look at her and when you see the mind is weak. I don't see it. I don't get it. I never understood. How does she even get on television? I believe Barbara made a terrible mistake putting her on, and I think Barbara's probably paying a big price. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. She's trying to use ABC and The View to get even with me. But with me, we fight back. I'll probably sue Rosie because she doesn't tell the facts. So probably I'll sue her because it would be fun. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pocket.
When Rosie drops a truth into a handheld mic outside the White House, you see faces that look like yours nod in hard agreement, and you know you are not alone. That is democracy at the speed of sound. You do not need a poll the next morning to tell you what happened in the room. There have been rumors, myths, and internet hoaxes designed to muddy the record. They always pop in the wake of a great line.
I think that he is afraid of smart, informed, strong women. And, he thinks women are to be abused, to be grabbed by the... as he said, I thought when that happened that would be it for him. I remember when Gary Hart had a girl sit on his lap, a grown woman, not a child. And that was the end of his candidacy. And here he is saying what he says and being who he is. And I think that strong women scare him and infuriate him. And I'm one of them.
It is a tactic as old as show business. If you cannot win the moment, flood the zone with fake ones until everyone gives up trying to keep track. It has not worked here because the anchor points are clear and the tape is stubborn. The view clip exists, the rally exists, the monologues exist, the live shows exist, the contradictions and the contradictions about the contradictions will fade, the broadcast beats will not.
He's put this country in so much danger by his horrible, horrible decisions and this ridiculously immoral bill that he just signed into law. As Republicans cheered, people will die as a result, and they've started already. Shame on him. Shame on every GOP sycophant who's listening and following the disastrous decisions of this mentally incapacitated POTUS.
And if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to America Facticity for more breaking news.